A Dutch wine produced on the stony banks of the Maas River is set to join champagne, Parma ham, and Stilton cheese among the European delicacies given protected status by the EU, in what is said to be the latest consequence of climate change to the geography of winemaking. An announcement is expected on Monday evening granting the 6 hectares of Wijngaard Thorn the honor of being the first vineyard in the Netherlands to have the right to bear on its bottles the red and yellow stamp conferring protected designation of origin (PDO) status. Until now, formal recognition of Dutch expertise in the production of the finer things in life has been largely limited to cheeses suitable for those with a less adventurous palate. The appellation Maas Vallei Limburg, pertaining to an area of 60 square miles either side of the North European Maas River, which flows from France through to Belgium and the Netherlands, ending in the North Sea, joins the likes of the French Châteauneuf du Pape, Spain's Cava and Italy's Prosecco, in the pantheon of winemaking territories of distinction. Along with Wijngaard Thorn, 10 Belgian vineyards on the limestone, quartz and flint-filled soil of the Maas Vallei Limburg area will have the right to bear the stamp, no mean feat some 150 years after Napoleon forced the uprooting of Belgium's vines in an act of protectionism, pushing the Belgians to turn their hands to beer instead. PDO status is limited to food and drink produced, processed and prepared in a given geographical area, using recognized know-how, according to the EU. Maas Vallei Limburg wine will join 15 Dutch products on the PDO list, alongside Edam and Gouda cheeses, Brabante asparagus and the Opperdoezer round potato. The European Commission has already in principle approved the application for PDO, which is the first cross-border effort in the EU, leaving only publication in the official journal of the European Union, which is expected on Monday. Wine map. For food and drink to be granted PDO status, applicants must show that their produce is distinct and their area has a rich history to protect. The Valley's Pinot Noir is said to have velvety soft, ripe tannins, well balanced with great structure, very intense, long finish, according to the PDO application. Of the Riesling, it is said, the Gravel in Maas Vallei Limburg gives the wine a smoky mineral taste with a hint of spice. When mature, the pronounced characteristic aroma of petroleum and honey predominates. Harry Vorslan, a former French horn player who produced his first bottle at Wijngaard Thorn with his wife in 2004, explained that Benedictine nuns in the area had long produced wine, but that it was climate change that made superior quality now possible in the 45,000 bottles he produces a year. Harry Vorslan, Dutch winemaker of Thorn Wine Estate in Thorn, the Netherlands, photographed Judith Jockel for The Guardian. The average temperature in the wine-growing months of April to October has risen by 2 degrees in the last 30 years in the area. The valley is shielded from westerly rains by the Kempen Plateau, rising some 100 meters above sea level, making it among the driest spots in northern Europe. Climate change is quite important, Vorslan said, from his tasting rooms in the center of Thorn, a pretty town famous locally for its whitewashed houses. We have not only the benefits but the bad things. Frost in the spring, because plants are growing earlier. In August we have bigger rains. When it rains more. But in general climate change is good for us because of the temperature increasing. It is quite serious. You see it all over the wine business. Vorslan, who makes white wine from Pinot Gris, Dornfelder, Riesling and Auxerrois grapes, along with red wine from the famous Pinot Noir, has won coveted international awards in the past. He admitted that French and German winemakers have been surprised but, he insisted, not snobby, about what he is creating. They are doubtful at first and then they are impressed by the quality, Vorslan said. They think it can't be very good, it must be a niche thing. But then they are surprised. Perhaps if we had 200 hectares they would then be worried. Vineyard at Belgian wine estate Oldenijk, Marseille, Belgium. Photographed Judith Jockel for The Guardian. We are trying to exploit the typical combination of the stony soil and the microclimate, he said. It gives the wine some typical minerality. The grapes get water from the stones. 6-year-old grapes take the water from the stones when it isn't wet. We can see it. The wine can compare with the French or German regions. Karel Henkens, who runs the vineyard Vindemain Oldenijk on the Belgian side of the border, was responsible for the PDO application, along with Vorslan. The French, he said, are well aware of the impact of climate change on the industry, and have been buying up land in Belgium as a result. There has been a boom in vineyards in Belgium, said Henkens, a former farmer of apples and pears. Everyone is planting, it is unbelievable, he said. I was comparing with someone this summer from an English vineyard and I was drinking his sparkling wine and he was saying his climate was much more difficult than here. Henkens, whose vineyard produces 75,000 bottles a year, sold largely in Belgian restaurants, added, every year I hear of a plot of land being bought. They want a foot in the door. They see what is happening.